successful yet. I'm building my dream life from scratch, and I want to show you what it really looks like building something from scratch. So welcome back to my channel. I'm just someone with big dreams, figuring life out one step at a time. Even though I'm still like in this beginner phase, I believe that I'm building something that will change my life and maybe even inspire you to do the same thing. If you had a lot of failures and lost a lot along the way, this video is for you. Most people wait until they make it to share their stories, but then for me, this is a bit it's quite opposite because I'm literally at the beginner phase, and for me, this is like a documentary. And probably 3 years from now, I'll like look back into this video and be like, this is where I started. This is the journey that took me from this specific point to the point where I am. And I'm sharing this because for me, it's just not about the destination, but the process as well is very important. And to tell you the truth, I'm still learning and I'm still figuring things out. So, one of the things that is actually dear to me is entrepreneurship. But then for me, it's more like a mindset. Like, it's not just about making money, but although at the end of the day, that's the main goal for an entrepreneur is to make money. But then it's more of like creating a life that gives you freedom and a life that aligns with your values. And yes, I've tried a lot of things. I've tried businesses that didn't work out. I've tried doing things that didn't work out. But then I am not holding myself back just because I failed, it doesn't mean that I will not succeed at a certain point. Just because those businesses didn't work out, it doesn't mean that I have to stop now. I think there were lessons that I had to learn, and I got those lessons, and I'm carrying those lessons onto the next so that I don't make the mistakes that I did in this ones onto the next one. And basically, entrepreneurship is just all about the mindset. It's just like a trial and error, learning and trying up until you reach that specific point where you see success in whatever it is that you are doing. And starting from scratch can actually be humbling, especially when you're from a background where opportunities are limited. It's very difficult to start from scratch, but then that should not stop you from achieving your dreams. Like I said, it's a mindset. It's about solving problems, taking risks, and be willing to bet on yourself even when you're not ready. And it's all about learning through action, more of like getting out of your comfort zone, because being an entrepreneur is actually difficult. Like, it's not an easy thing. It doesn't mean that you should just stop and quit everything, because at the end of the day, quitting is not an answer. Like, if you quit now, basically you are telling yourself that you are not capable of reaching to that dream life that you always dream of, to that point in time where you have succeeded, you have ticked off all your goals and live the life that you always dreamed of. If you decide to quit right now, the only person that you can blame is yourself. That's literally the person that you can blame, because at the end of the day, we have different dreams, we have different goals, and obviously we have different journeys. And even though it's difficult, you just have to have faith. That's the only thing that you can rely on, faith and having hope that things are going to work out. Which leads me on to the next point of setting goals. If you are setting goals based on how your success should look like, you're doing it wrong. You're supposed to set goals based on who you want to become. So instead of waiting for the perfect time, you need to ask yourself, what can you do today to move 1% closer to your dream? How can you show up as the best version of yourself who already believes that it is possible? Because, like the Bible says, faith without works is nothing. And you setting goals, it doesn't mean that you just write them down and then dream about it every day. You have to put in the action. And by this action, I mean, learning a new skill, showing up, and staying consistent with whatever it is. You have to set those goals that align with the bigger version of who you want to be and where you want to be. Like I said, if you're just like me, still learning and still figuring out, I just want you to know that you don't need to have it all together when starting out. You can have the craziest dream that when you tell someone else, they'll be like shocked that you are even thinking of such dreams. And you are allowed to build your future from right where you are, one step at a time. And when you have these goals, definitely you have to plan. You have to also have a plan on how you are going to execute these goals, whether it's like a monthly plan or a weekly plan, how you're going to incorporate all those goals, like for you to work on them each and every day. Because it's pointless you have your goals, but then you also again don't have a plan. Because at the end of the day, if you do not plan, then it's just going to be like you have your goals, but then you do not know how to execute them. You cannot just write a goal and then be like all wishy. It's not going to work. At the end of the day, you have to put in the action, and by putting in the action, you have to plan on how you're going to execute those goals. Because if you do not do that, they are just going to remain goals at the end of the day, and you might not even reach that dream life that you always dream of. I myself am a big believer that as long as you put in the work, put in the action, it you are going to become successful in whatever it is that you are working on. Just because you failed, it doesn't mean that you are not going to succeed. I mean, I believe that I am going to succeed one way or the other. So, like, yeah, just try again. If you fail, keep on trying, keep on trying. If this thing is not working out, try another way. Because at the end of the day, if you firmly believe that you are going to succeed, you are going to succeed at the end of the day. So my final thoughts, keep on working on those dreams, keep on working on those goals, because you are the only one who is responsible to do that, and you are the only one who can literally close the gap between your current self and that future version that you always dreamed of. Although it's going to be difficult sometimes, just keep on having faith. Pray to God that everything is going to work out at the end of the day. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you in the next video. Bye.